Hey, we are live. It is Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
Woke and Free.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing opportunity for us to have a live episode for our 327th episode of Woke and Free. And if you normally catch us, you know that we normally do not do this live, but we are starting something new before the new year. And we're just excited to see what this process is going to be. And there's going to be bumps, there's going to be hurdles, but we welcome you for the ride and for lively and interesting conversation. And so with that, for those of you new, welcome. But for those of you who have been tuning in every week for Woke and Free Wednesday, you know that Woke and Free is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. And for this episode, it is entitled Beyond the Obvious, 10 Underestimated Treasures of Life. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the things that matter most that people do not put enough value to. So how exciting. Now, if you aren't already a person who has gone to the Podbean app to make sure you've subscribed to Woke and Free, make sure you do that, especially now that we're going live every week. So we want to make sure that you don't miss an episode and that you're here with us each and every time we come on. So make sure you do that. And then also, we would love for you to engage with us on social media. So where are we? We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at Woke and Free. So make sure you are following and subscribe to us all those places. And then we'd love for you to review the show. So, you know, we would love for you to do that on any platform of your choice. Just make sure you go to WokeNFree.com, go on the listen tab, and then you can review our show. And with that, I'm going to kick it to you, Khalil.
Okay, I'll take it from here. And just like always, before starting the conversation, we like to share a little bit about ourselves. This week we are asking, do you think love is a verb or a noun?
Now, this is a question I actually can get behind because unlike the other nonsensical things you ask, I
wouldn't call it nonsensical. I would call it mind-opening and bedazzling.
Foolish and nonsensical.
That's not true. They range. You know, they range anyway. They're not all the same.
I know, different versions of foolishness and different versions of nonsense.
It's different caliber. It just depends. And remember, it's not something that I just sit down and contemplate. It comes from the ether. It comes from different sources. Failure, hey? Yeah. It comes from different things.
Comes from sources.
So when I say sources, it may have been a book that you've donated to me as well. Right?
Donated? What am I, Goodwill?
You're a special type of giver that gives something.
I can't hardly stand you because what you're saying sounds wild.
No, I'm saying you probably want the book back, possibly.
Never. Actually, I would never. We let's donate it to somebody who actually wants
it. But you do remember that you gave me a book to
correct. I do remember this.
And now you try to chastise the question.
I do. It's funny. Hideous, actually. Yeah.
You're like, I didn't read this book. I didn't realize
it's absolutely hideous. Yeah, that was a fatal mistake. Yeah. We make mistakes in life, but it is not a mistake to answer this question. And for me, I would define love as a verb because most people act like it's a noun, meaning the verb of love is commitment. It is daily consistency. It is growth. That's what makes it a verb. When love is a noun, then it's empty words of declaration instead of meaningful, consistent daily action. So that's how I define it. How about you?
I agree. I'd have to go with love being a verb just because noun just seems, I don't know, it seems just kind of out there, meaning it's not something that you can really grasp. Like anybody can say love and I love you and just say it as an idea, but it doesn't really hold anything, to be honest, and it's because people have just overused it. But as a verb, I think it's better because then you can put action behind that. So it's like, I love you because I'm going to, I don't know, take care of you in your sickest of times, stuff like that. So that's why I think about love for me as a verb rather than a noun.
Okay.
That's how I'd put it.
That makes sense.
And I think that's underestimated a lot, actually, that love is more a verb and not a noun. What are 10 underestimated treasures, though, of life?
Yes, hot mess. So
say yes to the mess.
Hey, each and every time. In a household with children, absolutely, you should.
Exactly.
So to answer the question of what are 10 underestimated treasures of life, let's break it up 5 by 5. So my 5 are as follows. So first, quiet mornings. Just everyone listening, just do know I am a woman who loves peace and silence. And that's really hard with a 2.5-year-old, but nonetheless, I'm going to fight the good fight. And I love a good quiet morning. What am I talking about? I want stillness. I want serenity. I want the opportunity to get out and walk in the bitter cold in Arizona. I know what a contradiction there. I want the profound ability to have peace and introspection and think through joy of everything going on and then everything I want. And that usually happens in a nice morning, quiet morning. So that's one underestimated treasure of life. Next is heartfelt connections and conversations. When I have the ability, and I do not have this with a lot of people, but for the people I do have this with, deep, meaningful talks is everything, right? Like that's a part of my love language. That's a part of me feeling tethered to this earth. And so when I have that, that is like filling my heart. I feel like there's purpose, there's connection, there is intimacy that is better served than any other physical act of intimacy. That's how I feel about like heartfelt conversations. So that's number 2 with a bullet.
Wow.
Number 3 is the joy of learning. Why? Because I am nerd number 1. I love to learn something new. My life motto is to learn something new and meet someone new every single day, which, hello, everyone on the internet, is totally doable, totally possible. So let's make sure we do that. And let's get some skills. Let's learn some facts. Let's get some perspective, some insight. Hello, podcast. And learn so you can grow, so you can be woke and free, so you can evolve. So that's number 3 with a bullet.
Well, what about people that learn in school and they don't care for the subject at hand? Isn't that the despair of learning? Is actually not a treasure, but it's kind of like a weapon against life.
So that goes on the antithesis of list that you're making.
No,
secretly.
I'm just saying, like, well, for you, there's the joy of learning, but can't some people see learning as something they hate?
Great question. So what I would do is to answer that or to address that caveat is learning things that you want to learn, right? Because I definitely cannot sit here and tell you everything I've learned and academically is something I deeply enjoyed. Like, no, I did not love learning about biology. I did not love learning about chemistry, but I'm grateful for learning it. I'm grateful for those opportunities to academically struggle and figure out how to get that A or whatnot, because it just makes you a stronger, better person. So no matter what, I still would anchor around the joy of learning, because even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's you're disgruntled in the process, you're going to be a better person of it, which is a joyful, beautiful blessing in the end. So I'm still going to anchor around it. 4th would be a good laugh. So if you know me and you've been listening to Woke and Free, you know I love to laugh. I am more foolish than not. And so I think laughter is really important, especially when you share it with others, because things get incredibly heavy, incredibly challenging. And there is just a kind of a glimmer or glimpse of joy that happens internally when we're able to laugh with each other, and we can de-stress and just remember that, let's not take things too seriously because it's all pointless anyway. So there's that. And then solitude. I probably will spend more time by myself than with anyone else in this life. And a part of that is deeply valuable for self-reflection, creativity, personal growth. And for folks like me, there's also just a sense of comfortability and comfort that just happens to be like me, myself, and I as a whole vibe. And I stand by that. I might get that tattooed somewhere because I really do think it's true. Like, I will yell at you to get out the room. Like I need my me time. I need to be by myself, and I enjoy it, and I crave it and want it all the time.
Well, then thinking about these 5 treasures of life.
Yeah, are these underestimated ones especially.
Yeah, are these more personal ones, or do you recommend other people to try these out?
Ooh, so I think you should derive a list that is personal for you. And I love that question, because I actually would recommend that someone come up with their own list. And then if any of the things I mentioned or the ones that you mentioned on your list, they should try it. So if you start the morning and it's not quiet and you're like, oh, I'm a really high strung person, maybe you should try having a quiet morning and seeing how that disrupts your day. And like,
if possible.
If possible. Like, same thing. If you're a person who's super like plastic and you know who you are, don't lie.
You love to use the plastic?
Excuse you?
You love to use the plastic, you're saying.
So to be plastic doesn't mean you automatically use plastic, but I guess one can happen with the other.
But you know what I mean by plastic, right? Or no? You don't get the reference?
Like plastic containers? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I'm talking about like a credit card or.
There you go. Someone who spends a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but specifically, they're using someone else's credit card.
Oh God, no! I'm not talking about fraudulence.
No, not fraudulence. They were given it, and they were they just use it as they.
No. I'm saying that like if you're a person who's like surface level, right? Like you don't really have deep conversations, you don't really get deep, meaningful talks. Like you heard me say this. Maybe that's something you try this year. Maybe that's something you try in the new year, right? Like, I just think we need to challenge ourselves. So that's why I'm just saying I like your question, because the answers that we provide here will help people start to think about their own life in a different way. And maybe our ultimate 10 list of underestimated treasures of life could be like a new thing for people to try in 2024 for people. And that might be like life-changing, right? So that's pretty cool.
And then I just thought about this.
Yeah.
Before I get out to mine, I still have to know. So these are underestimated by you or by others? Society.
Oh, so society. I think society underestimates the importance of my 5, but I'm curious to see what your 5 are.
All right. Some of mine are kind of specific, but also mine I recommend for other people, actually. I don't recommend me just to use these as treasures.
That's your typical vibe, yeah. Here's advice for you to do.
No.
And whether I do it or not is irrelevant.
This one goes both ways. No, I do this, and I recommend others do
it. So that's a actual like genuine recommendation then.
Yeah, but it's
because one typically recommends things that one does. But you live a different type of life.
No, but you know why I wouldn't say that? So it's kind of like, and it's because I saw a story today.
Yeah.
I recommend that pilots not be inebriated. Like, pilots of airplanes. And I'm not a pilot. I just make that recommendation. I don't pilot a plane.
Well, I mean, one should follow the federal regulations that attribute to whether or not someone can fly a plane.
Maybe there's regulations. I don't know.
Maybe. I 1,000% think they are. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if it covers all like sorts of sources of
inebriation.
That's like, I don't know. I just saw a tidbit of the story.
Oh, okay.
Where a pilot was like depressed. So taking antidepressants or something, and it made him kind of woozy. So I'm just saying, I think you can make recommendations that you yourself don't take. It depends. But going back to the treasures that are underestimated, and remember, I recommend this for other people, and I know they underestimate it. So going to your last point about solitude, mine is more specific, and it's bathroom solace. So it's that time that you spend on the royal throne, that's something that you need to cherish and understand that you can do a lot while you're on that.
And is it underestimated because you're coming from the perspective of being a parent and you have a child now that always likes to invade your bathroom time, or?
No, well, I'm not. Yes, I'm not even getting to that. I'm just thinking about it's one of the few moments where you're not supposed to be bothered by anybody. Like that's your
so you're throwing shade at me when I holler and bother you in the bathroom.
No, I'm saying in general, this is for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's one time that they can.
I know. I'm trying to see where the tea is, though. What's the tea?
Well, I mean, so it's underestimated because now I don't get it as much because of having a child.
Okay, gotcha.
That's why it's underestimated. Yeah,
just, call a spade.
Yeah, my son interrupts that time usually. I mean,
and I interrupt
there's ways to get around
hurry
it.
up and take this child. Yeah.
I don't count that as interruption. That's not anything. I count somebody as entering the physical spaces. That's an interruption.
Physical?
Yeah, because that's different. If you're just talking, it's like you can talk. It's like when you're in a public restroom. People talk with something, but you don't say anything about it. I'm saying talking with something because the person in the next stall might be kind of loud.
Okay.
But they might be talking on the phone too. So
in
a public, but either way, you still have some sort of solace because you're there you're alone. You can do what you want. You can read emails, whatever. I think you just should think about that as something that's valuable. Mm-hmm. My next thing is that making your child laugh is a underestimated thing because I don't know, your children it just brings something special seeing them smile and knowing that you can make them joyful is just it's something that's really amazing that
1,000%.
Everybody because I don't know if all parents try to make their children laugh. I think some are strict, right, and militant. So going back to that,
judgment calls.
Yes, no, I'm just saying if they may not try to make them laugh, right? They might make them memorize their multiplication table instead of trying to get them to laugh. Mm-hmm. The third thing is that an all-inclusive staycation should be valued.
That's an interesting.
First, I was thinking about a vacation, but actually, it's at home. So, what I mean by that is no responsibilities for the day, at least.
And who is the child in this scenario?
Anybody can do it. They just need help from an outside source. It could be the child, depending on their age. They can help. They can help make this happen. They could say, "Hey, you put your feet up. I'll put on your favorite show. I'll get your favorite food together." This is a really cherishable moment.
Love it. Okay.
The next thing is having just an unscheduled day. I mean, it kind of goes back to the last point,
that's
but it's where your calendar is blank for the day. That's what
I don't even know what that looks like. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I don't know if everybody calendars their life, but even if they don't, they usually have a set of things they got to get done. So how about you have nothing that has to get done just for the day? Not saying this
Powerful.
is a week.
Yeah.
I think this is a nice thing to do. And my last treasure would be discovering a song that you add to your mental forever playlist. So what I mean by that is, I don't know if everybody does this. But what I do is there's certain songs that I hear and I'm like, oh, this will be a song that I'll go back to. And it's like, it's stored in my mind, like to go back to that. So I'll have a playlist of kind of like favorited songs, I guess, that you like. And just finding a new one that you can add to that long list. I think that's a really amazing thing.
Okay.
So I think if you can do that, hopefully you're into music. If you're not, then this point doesn't apply to you, but maybe you should be, because you never know. It could be classical Beethoven or something.
Listen to music.
Yeah. There could be just, that's whatever hilarious. In C major. I don't I'm trying to think of a classic Beethoven song.
Oh, yeah.
The name of it, it's not coming to me. But either way, that could be part of your playlist that you keep in your head. Because the playlists don't all have to be like set in some program. Some of it you could just store in your mind that I'm going to come back to this. Or you get like in a certain mood and you're like, I got to play this because I'm feeling that kind of that zone. So that's those are my 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you think people truly value the treasures of life?
So specifically for the ones that we mentioned, I would say, obviously, there's no blanket statement that you can apply to all human beings on Earth. There's outliers for everything. But generally, I would say no, absent those outliers, for the following reasons. One, there isn't a universal list of life treasures for everyone. Like, even when doing some research for this episode, you would have died. There were so many resources that were Christian related and religiously related, speaking to Jesus and everything. And that's beautiful and wonderful. However,
for a treasure of life.
Yes, because if you think about that phrasing, I think it goes to thinking through like a spiritual kind of thing, right? Like,
did
Jesus
you put in eternal life or something?
No, I didn't. But yeah, it's kind of jumping to that pathway, right? And so,
interesting.
But either way, like, I don't think this is a highly talked about topic. So by default, then that means that not that many people are probably spending that much time thinking about it or discussing it. So it can't be prioritized if it's like not a thing. And then that means that if it's not talked about, that means it's not a lot of content out there. So, okay, then that's also like no with a bullet. And then the next thing is this, to me, I would define this as a very positive focus topic. And as we know, human beings are much more compelled by negativity, right? If this was going to be a conversation around like 10 things not to do to die, or 10, like, people get really like, our minds are more affected by negativity than positivity. So I think that works against us, this, from a biological perspective.
Yeah.
And so that's where I would say hard no.
Okay. Well, I agree with you again on this, because
there we go.
The thing is that people like fleetingly, I think, value a treasure, because once you have a treasure and you have it for a while, it becomes just everyday and ordinary, and you just tend to expect it and take it for granted. So
yeah,
I think, you may find something and you're like, wow, this is really amazing. But then once you do it enough, the value of it goes away. So it's not worth as much. I think it's a issue of gratitude, actually, that occurs.
Okay.
Where people don't have enough of it. So
interesting.
That's something to think about.
Yeah, and then that leads me to the question of if someone hasn't necessarily thought about this for their own life, then how does one start to figure this out for themselves? How do they come up with their 10 or even 5 for themselves?
Well, I think they first have to listen to this episode. It's the very first thing. Then the second thing is just do some searches on what makes you happy on the internet. Just go and kind of like, hopefully you already know what makes you happy. If you don't, then maybe you got to search up things that make you happy, search up hobbies or things that can make you happy, and maybe look for what others have found happiness in, to just give you a guide on, maybe something of minuscule importance can make me happy, and that can actually become a treasure of yours. So I think it's all about the research, and if you can't think of it off the top of your head, just go and do some, plain old internet searching, and that'll get you going.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. Number one is definitely starting from a space of what makes you happy, because the treasures of life are definitely going to be fed into and from that list. So you definitely want to do that. Next, I would say you'd want to try new things, try new experiences, meet new people. The only way you grow is by experiencing and doing new things. So if you don't put yourself in those places and spaces to do that, then you're doing yourself a disadvantage to understand the full breadth of who you're going to be and who you're meant to be in this world. But then also you fail to understand, like, maybe you would love skiing, but you actually have to ski. Like you have to try and do new things, and you won't know, right? Like you just won't know until you try. That's just a part of the human experience.
Yeah.
Another thing, and this is hard, I struggle with this myself, is being more mindful. And mindfulness is a practice that has to be custom for the person. So and we've talked about this before in the episode, where for some people that like is a straight journey to yoga, and or meditation, and for folks like me, that's like, let's like think through this a little bit more. So because I try, but I struggle with consistency or even ability to stay awake. So it's just like things like
that's
that.
Interesting. When I think of practice mindfulness, I think of things like just not using your phone while you're doing an activity.
Oh, being more present than you.
Yeah.
Like that's technological dissociation. Okay.
Yeah, as one, like, because I think people get distracted.
That is a form of mindfulness, like being I think it's just present and
actually doing and it'd even be like if you're at an event and you just decide, I'm just going to take a bunch of pictures. I don't think that's being technically mindful.
No, it isn't, because you're too busy focusing on that.
Yeah, you're just taking pictures instead of being like in the event. So
yeah,
that's what I think about when I think about mindfulness.
Okay. Another tip I would have is a gratitude journal. I'm not always the best at always writing in it, but I always feel so much better when I do it. And so, and also just to have a caveat, you don't have to have the journal. You could just wake up and first thing is, what are 3 things you're grateful for the day, right? Like that clarity will help you to be able to have that list of, unexpected or unvalued or underestimated treasures of life, because the things that you are grateful each and every day absolutely probably find its way to that list for you. And then another thing, there's a couple of other things you could do, but another thing I would just probably call out is, especially as from the parent perspective, try to seek balance. And again, that is a custom order for you. And balance is going to look different for everyone, but especially when you are a parent, you are at high capacity stress. So that means you need to find ongoing ways and methodologies to reduce your stress and feel more balanced, feel more on top of things, feel like your life isn't a tornado killing you each and every day. So figuring that out is a journey in and of itself. And maybe by the time your kid is 25, you'll figure it out. But the journey begins now. But remember, it's personal, and you got to do things that resonate most with you.
I mean, those are a lot of tips just for starting, I would say.
Yeah, they are.
I didn't realize there's so many things you can do just to start. But hey,
that's
the more the better, right? That's how I think of it. And here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It is scenario time. Scenario 1. Kailash has 10 exotic vehicles that range from classics to technological marvels. She would like to acquire at least one more to complete her personal quest. Does Kailash underestimate the 10 treasures in her life?
What? Wait a minute. Are you saying? Okay. What the heck is technological marvel? You're saying that's a car?
No, I'm saying the type. Those are just the types of cars. It's not really pivotal to the question. It just lets you know she has different types of exotic vehicles. She has some classic ones, and she has some of the newest ones with the latest technologies built in. Okay. So she wants to get one more to have her collection complete.
Interesting.
Does that mean she underestimates like what
treasures of life, what's the real meaning of life, and what's really most important? I would say from this small limited example, she just seems deeply materialistic. But I cannot, outside of knowing more information about her, I couldn't say that she has no understanding of the treasures of life. But what I would say is her treasures of life are these vehicles or technological marvels. So I would say that the fear I have for her is, what if something happens to those vehicles? Does she just implode? Like, like that just seems like there's more to life than your cars. There's more to life than the things you own. So just making sure that we're, again, anchoring our value and our peace around things not just external to us, right, but more actually internal to us. That way, anything in your life goes different, goes awry, you can at least not feel like you're dying on the inside. Okay. That life goes on.
So when I think of this question, I would say that she definitely is underestimating the 10 treasures in her life, because to me, the 10 treasures, they are the vehicles, and I'm not going to judge her on if that should be what they are or what they're not. But the problem is we said there's only 10 that are underestimated, and you want to get an 11th vehicle. So obviously there's something wrong that you're doing. Because we said there's 10 underestimated treasures in life.
That's what the topic was for the episode. So let's not be shady. Let's, are there more? Yes, Khalil. But we're just talking about 10 for this episode.
I personally take it literally and say there's
good
only
for
10.
You. Thank you and goodbye.
There can only be 10 specifically underestimated.
There can only be 10 people. Yeah,
no, exactly. But specifically only 10 underestimated treasures.
Yes.
That's the specific.
That's the
other ones aren't underestimated. The other ones but only 10 you have.
You're lucky that we're live too, because I can't even hardly say nothing too. Go ahead.
Scenario 2. Tunisia tells her boss she is treated unfairly and never gets what she wants in her life. Her reports are always late with deliverables and often don't complete the task at hand. Do you think Tunisia is underestimating the treasures of life?
What kind of questions are these?
These are scenarios. That's the whole point. They're not questions.
I guess so. I feel bad for her, because whenever you're in a working environment where you said her boss.
She complains to her boss basically that she's being like treated unfairly.
So that's a hard space to be in, especially if she's trying to have peace in life, or she's trying to have like quiet mornings, or any of the things we talked about as kind of this underestimated treasures of life. It seems like what she's dealing with from a work perspective could be interfering with that potentially. And I don't think she's underestimating the treasures of life. I think what she probably needs to do is a deep dive on whether or not this is the best work environment for her to be able to appreciate and spend time with the underestimated treasures of life.
So you don't think she's actually underestimating the treasures that she has in her own life, though?
The lawyer in me says I need more information to be able to fully assess that. But what I would say is the problem she's having in her career is going to make her have less mental, emotional capacity to appreciate the treasures of life. So she's at conflict.
All right. I mean, I answer this question, yes, she is underestimating the treasures of life, because she says she never gets what she wants. I mean, I think that's not true. Yeah, that's not true.
That's a good call out.
That statement is too finalized. So maybe change that statement, and then you can get back to what's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Scenario 3. Nyambi is able to point out how her neighbors have everything she should have. When she shows guests her home, she is always disparaging towards everything she shows off, saying how her neighbors have the perfect home she dreams of. Do you think Nyambi can look beyond the obvious?
Yeah, so I think this is a lack of gratitude, kind of like what you spoke to. So the fact that she has a home is something to be grateful for. And the fact that she can even identify the differences indicates that she's not focusing on what's most important, which is who cares what people have in their homes, what their homes look like. Like, work on what you want your home to look like, and not from a comparative space, but like, if you want things to change in life, don't anchor them around what other people have, anchor them around what you want and why you want what you want, and then do the work to get it, right? We can't just sit in a space of just like, I want, and why can't I have? And like, what are you, Angelica from Rugrats? Like, get over yourself. Like, the babies took it, move on.
Yeah, this, like you said, you shouldn't play the comparative game. It's not really worth it in the end. It's not going to make anybody happy, and it's not going to affect the people you're comparing to. So I don't know what the purpose of it is, to be honest. I don't really get it. So she could just stop comparing, and just, if she really wants something, figure out how to get it, or just say, hey, be grateful for what you have. I mean, it must be pretty good that you live near these other people that have things that you dream of. So
exactly.
I don't know. It must be saying something. Yeah, you could be more grateful, definitely.
And with that, it looks like we are going to be coming to the end of our 327th episode of Woke and Free. And we were live for the first time on our show, which is so amazing. And hopefully you heard us and you enjoyed this, and provide all feedback in the Podbean app so that we're aware of what's going on from your perspective as a listener. But we also invite you to come on and join us when we go live on Wednesdays, WokeNFree Wednesdays, to give your feedback and your comments, and also join the conversation. And with that, remember, this was an episode that was entitled Beyond the Obvious, 10 underestimated treasures of life. And we invite you to put in the Podbean, with the Podbean app, put in your comments around what are your 10 so that we can find out. And to Khalil's earlier point, if you have an 11th mention, it is welcome, or 12 or beyond. It's not just 10. That is just what this episode is titled. So go ahead, Khalil.
Oh, okay.
Yes, go ahead.
I just take the episodes as they literally are called.
Excellent.
That's all I do. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to
exactly.
It, but come back next week for the new Woke and Free Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along with the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for Woke and Free Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
And remember to join us on live. It's through the Podbean app, so make sure you have downloaded the app, you've subscribed to the show so that you could catch the episode live when we do it. And of course, if you have any episode topics or just want to engage with us, the best place to reach us is not my personal LinkedIn. It's actually our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com. And for social media, again, you can always find us and LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And all sponsorship and collaboration queries is best place to reach us is our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for Woke and Free Wednesdays. Remember, Woke and Free is more than a podcast. It is a way of life. Till next time.